Are we ready for Ms. Jacobs?
Mm-hmm.
All right, please, Ms. Jacobs, when you're ready, come forward. Welcome to the House Oversight Committee. And when you sit down, you push the red button there. That'll turn on the microphone, and you can speak. And just to be clear, you speak. When you're done, we'll allow one question per member, but we're not going to interrupt you. So I just want everyone to be cognizant of the fact our goal is to be done, a little after 9. So welcome, and thank you for coming here today to tell your story.
With Miss Jacob is her husband. Your full name is?
Sunny Jacob. Sunny Jacob.
And your full name is?
Jessie Jacob.
And Jessie, you're a resident of Detroit?
Yes, I am.
And you were born in India, is that correct?
Yes, I am.
And you came to the U.S. in 1985?
That's true.
And you and your husband became United States citizens?
Yes, in 1995.
And how many children do you have, Jessie?
3 children.
How old are they?
The older one is 36, and the second one is 32, and the third one is 24.
And what do they do?
The older one, she's my oldest daughter. She's practicing in the emergency medicine physician at Washington, D.C. since 2014, yes.
And
my son,
your son?
he's doing his fellowship in child and adolescent psychiatry at Dallas Southwestern University Medical Center.
And your youngest daughter?
She's a third-year med school student at Wayne State.
Congratulations. So let's get right to it. On September, you've been an employee of the city of Detroit for many, many years. Is that correct?
That is true.
Approximately how long?
Since 1986 August.
And you have the title of head engineer?
Yeah, that's my current title.
And on September 8th, you were assigned to election duties, were you not?
That is true.
And you were assigned to the 3rd floor of the election department.
The fourth floor of the
okay.
election department at West Grand Boulevard location.
And what were you told you were supposed to do?
The first day, basically, we were all, it's about, let me see how many people, about 40 to 60 people on that floor. We were, first they were, giving all kinds of instructions, how this training is going to be. And then in the afternoon, we started opening the mails that was received to the headquarters. That is the mail for application for absentee ballot request. So basically, that's what we were doing the whole week, first week, starting from September 8th. I started at 9 a.m. It was 9 to 4 p.m. So the entire group was working from 9 to 4, opening the mails, sorting out the mails. And we were asked to sort out according to the counting board, 134 counting boards. So there are 134 counting boxes set up, so you can sort out the applications that you have opened.
Did there come a time, Ms. Jacob, in about the 3rd week of September, when you were asked to change date?
So about I think they're around September 20th or 22nd. Yeah, I would say 22nd, 3rd week of September. We were kind of started packing, making the ballot packages to be sent to different citizens. And what we do is we will do for different counting boards, 50 pack, 50 application will be there. So you will be making packages of 50 ballots. And on the floor, they will let you know what date need to be put on that package, the mailing date for that ballot. So I notice time to time, basically every day, whenever you prepare that package, the ballot package is always either 3 days back date, 3 days, not the same day, always days before that date.
So starting on the 20th of September,
22nd. the
22nd?
Yes.
22nd of September,
Yes.
for some days thereafter,
Yes.
each day you were given a different date
Yes.
in order to backdate
Yeah. Yes.
the application. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And it was a different date each day?
Sometimes you use the same date, maybe consecutive days, maybe you will use the same date, but it was different.
But it was never the correct date.
It never be the same day, the day you are preparing the package.
In other words, it was a false statement.
Yes, it was a date prior to that date that you are preparing
Who told you to do that?
whoever was the supervisor on the floor that day.
Was it one supervisor or more than one supervisor who told you to backdate it every day?
There were more than one supervisor, not just one, more than one. So I would say 1 to 3 supervisors.
And how long did you have that position? Until you left that position after a short while.
Yes.
Can you tell us how long you held that position?
Yeah, I worked at the 4th floor of the election department till October 2nd, that's a Friday. September 30th, I was sent for training for the QVF trainings. September 30th and October 1st, I was at training. Then October 2nd was my last day working at the election headquarters. And from October 5th onwards, I was asked to work as a processor at one of the satellite sites. Out of 23 satellite sites, first I was sent to Cromwell Recreation Center at Lasher and 6 Mile. Then I was asked to go to Common Air Recreation Center at Bradbury Drive near downtown from October 12th.
Well, up until the time you left,
Yes.
how many co-workers did you have when you were backdating the documents?
You mean at the election headquarters?
Yes, at the original place that you worked.
Okay. After I think about around September 15th or so, they started the second shift. Until then, it was only from 9 to 4, one shift. Then they started another shift from 5 to 11. So 2 shifts. So I would say, if you add all of them, let me see. I would say around 80.
About 80
Yeah.
80 workers.
Yes.
And to your knowledge, were they all instructed exactly like you were
Yes.
to falsify
When they
the
were
document?
Yeah, when they were preparing the ballots to be sent, the ballot package.
So the ballot package had a false date on it when it was sent out, deliberately.
I mean, what basically is that date that you put on that ballot package, that will be entered to QVF as the ballot mailing date. That's what it is.
And then the law requires, doesn't it, you correct me because you know it much better than I do, that within 24 hours of your receiving the application, you have to respond. Is that correct?
Yeah, per the state of Michigan's official manual, you are required to issue a ballot within 24 hours of the request, the application request. That's what I read in the Michigan official's manual, the chapter 6. That's what it is written. So I don't know, when I was preparing the package, when I was preparing the package in 3rd week of September, I even saw applications from June, July, August. So
And what happened to the June, July, and August applications? Were they dated differently?
No, on the application, the citizens' applications, the date citizens submitted that application, it was from June, July, August, but we were preparing the ballots in September after 2-3 months later.
So during the period of time you were there doing it, which you estimated was about 10 days,
Yes.
would you say that about 100,000 false documents were created?
Yeah, from September 22nd till, I would say, till September 30th. Yeah, about 10 days. I mean, I was there till October 2nd.
And you estimated, when we went over this, about 10,000 a day.
Yeah,
10 days.
anywhere between 10,000 to 15,000. Yeah, sometimes we will be able to complete. I even remember 14,000 packages. Sometimes it's 12,000. So you can just, to be on the safe side, you can say 10,000 per day. That's a good number.
And just before we leave this, would your supervisor say this to all of you publicly? In other words, he would say, today, the date we're going to use is
This day.
whatever.
Yes. Yeah, that's the
In other
announcement.
words, you had the phony date of the day to
Yeah,
put
that's
down.
the announcement they will make. Yes, on the floor. Yes.
Then on October, then you were transferred and you went for training.
Yeah, on September 30th from 9 to 11:30 p.m. a.m. Then also on October 1st, those were the 2 days I was sent for training at Wayne County Community College. From 9 to 11:30 morning session. Then afternoon you will come back to the election headquarters.
And what do you remember of your training? What were you told during the training?
It was not good.
It was not good?
No.
Well, how wasn't it good?
I mean, first of all, when I was at the Wayne County Community College from 9 to 11:30, it's about, I would say, around 20 to 25 people. There were two groups, so I was with the second group. The first group training was from September 28 and 29, first group. I am with the second group, September 30th and October 1st. About, I would say, around 20, 25 people in each group. But what I found out when I went there, I tried to log into one of the laptop. It was not working. Then I tried another one. It was not working. So we had problems with the laptops. I couldn't even log
Yep.
into the system. So I was told by the instructor, just listen, just listen. You don't need a laptop, okay? So basically we were just I would say at least out of 20, 25.
You have a tape recording of this, don't you? That you don't want to share because you don't want the person who said this hurt. Is that correct?
No. So what I did was, since I didn't have a laptop, I didn't have nothing in front of me, I asked the instructor, can I record your lecture? Because I have to be, from October 5th, I have to be by myself. I have to work as a processor. So I want to learn something. So I asked the instructor, can I record your lecture? She said, sure, you can record. So with her permission, I recorded the lecture.
So when we listened to it last night, did the instructor from the city of Detroit tell you it doesn't matter if the address is wrong or the birth date is missing or there are no names? You must try and find a birth date.
Yeah,
And if the signatures look different, find something about them that's the same. No application should be rejected. Is that the sum and substance of what? Was it a she or a he?
That's a she.
Is that what the female told you?
Yeah, in nutshell, that's what basically, you have to do everything to make sure, that water, at the end, that water should get a ballot and vote. So
Even if the address was wrong.
See, sometimes when the voters walk in, they just give you the house number and the street name, but you have different ways to, you can search the voter in different ways. You can locate the voter. Sometimes you are lucky, you will be able to find everything for that voter, then you can process the ballot. But that won't be the case for everybody.
And suppose you can't find everything for that person. What do you do then?
The instructors sometimes tell you, you should set aside that application and we will send that application back to the election headquarters, let them take care of it.
And when you did that, what happened to it?
I don't know what happened after that. I don't know. It was sent. And also I was also instructed with regard to how to verify the signatures. You have to do everything so that the signatures, you have to match it.
Well, during the time that you worked there, which should be about a month,
Yes.
except for you, did you ever see any other application rejected as deficient?
No.
Didn't you see people that came up to you that you rejected that went to someone else and then they accepted that person?
See, the location where I was working, I remember a few times. I mean, I would say the first 2 weeks from October 5th, the first week is October 5th. That's the first day the early voting started at satellite locations. Then second week, October 12th. Daily, I would say the first week we had like about 8-9 voters all day from 9 till 6. Then second week maybe about 15. But the third week and the last week of October, we had more. And I remember two or three times, I had to reject, I think at 2 or 3 occasions to reject the ballot. And they were so angry. And they were so, angry, and they will sometimes, call you all kinds of name. Oh, you are saying I cannot vote? You don't count my ballot? And things like that. And I will say, so I'm so sorry, I cannot do, then I will ask my supervisor what to do. And then supervisor will say, Jessie, I don't know. Then, he will say, oh, I have other places, I will go and vote. Okay, then he will just walk out. So I don't know whether he went to the nearest one. Other side, you can go to any location. There are 23 satellite locations. You can go to any of that satellite locations.
Ms. Jacob?
Yes.
I don't want you to do this if you feel uncomfortable, but would you be comfortable taking your mask off so that people could hear you more clearly?
Can you hear me now?
Not clear.
Can everyone hear it clearly?
We can hear it. We can hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, the supervisor you originally had when you first were there, did you observe her coaching voters to vote for Biden and the Democrat ticket?
Yes.
And then as it got closer to the election, in fact, in the day or two before the election, were others of the workers there helping people to vote for Biden and the Democratic ticket and even going into the little booth with them?
Yeah, I remember on November 2nd specifically, that's the last day of absentee voter, November 2nd, 4 p.m., that's the deadline. So that day we had lots of people coming to the center. And I remember, let me be honest with you, I don't remember that person's name, but he was working as a ballot runner, and he was going to the polling booth and standing by the side of the voter and helping them to complete the ballot, assisting the voter. I was really concerned, but I didn't say anything. I don't know whether my supervisor saw that. She was in the room, but he was doing that.
Did you find that wrong, unacceptable?
I knew it is wrong, but I didn't
Pardon
say.
me?
I knew it is wrong, but I'm just a processor there. It's up to the supervisor. I didn't say anything.
And then was there a day when 3 people came in wearing Black Lives Matter T-shirts? I think it was on November 2nd, you said? And they were going to the voting booth and helping people to vote?
No, what they did was, I think it was earlier than that. I don't remember the exact date, but they were 3 of them. One was holding the flag and one was wearing, I think all of them were wearing the Black Lives Matter or something like that. And one of them, actually, he wanted to drop his, they were there to drop off their absentee ballot. So they walked into the room and they were dropping, one of them were dropping the ballot into the box. So the other one was cheering and the other one was taking picture and things like that. I knew it is also not right, but I cannot do anything. I was just sitting on my desk and doing my processing job, that's all.
Now, about 14 days before the election, your supervisor, who I think you told me her name is Carla, said that she had a meeting with her boss and that you should stop asking for driver's license or photo ID.
Yeah, what she told me was, they are all registered voters. You don't need any photo ID or driver's license. They can just, come and vote. Let the people vote. So basically, but as a processor, I was not comfortable doing that. So myself, I was, when they come to my table, I used to ask them at very low voice, can I see your driver's license, please? I used to get from all of them to make myself comfortable when I am issuing the ballot. But I was told not to ask because they are all registered voters.
You asked them for driver's licenses and photo ID?
Yes, I did.
And what happened?
I mean, that way I can verify their signature, the signature on the driver's license with the signature on the application and also the signature in the QVF. So I can verify all those three. And when they return the ballot to me, I can see how they are signing on the absentee ballot envelope, the return envelope. So basically all 4 locations, in the QVF file, on the driver's license, and on the application, and on the ballot return envelope. So
Now-
they are good. If all 4 of them are matched, I will receive that ballot into the QVF, I'll save it, and I will place my initial on the ballot return envelope, ballot number, date, and again initial. So 2 initials I have to place on the ballot return envelope when I am receiving the ballot into the QVF. So I was doing that for each and every ballot that I issued. That's what is required by the Michigan official manual.
Now, your coworkers didn't do that, and they asked you, didn't they? Why do you do it? And didn't you say, for my peace of mind?
Yeah, the driver's license, that the point when they said you don't need driver's license, I said for my peace of mind, I'm going to ask, anyway, I'm going to get the driver's license. And sometimes you won't be even able to read the name on the application the way some people write. So I really want, for 2 reasons, to enter the voter's name correctly into the system and also to verify the signature. And also, of course, the photo ID.
Did you also have to check signatures?
Yes, you do. That's the first thing you do before you even start processing the ballot.
And weren't you on several occasions, didn't you turn people down?
Yeah,
Got very angry at you, and then they went to one of your coworkers, and
One-
your coworkers accepted them?
one time I remember one young gentleman, he signed totally different, and he said, "Oh, that." Then I showed him his signature at QVF file. I turned my laptop and showed to him, "See how is your signature in the file?" And he said, "Oh, that's not. I don't sign like that. That was from 10 years ago. I don't sign anymore. I don't sign like that anymore." Then I said, "Sorry, I cannot do anything." But I think at that point, I think he walked out. Even though the supervisor, she was there, I don't think supervisor did anything. I think the gentleman walked out.
Did there come a time toward the end of that period when a fairly large number of people came to vote in person, but they were people who had requested absentee ballots?
Yes.
And how were you supposed to deal with it, and then how were you told to deal with it?
What I do is when the voter walk into the room, the person at the front desk, they will bring the driver's license. That is the first 2 weeks of October. They will bring the application, and the first thing I will do is I will enter the voter, and I will do a voter search. Then the system will tell you whether city already mailed the absentee ballot to them or not. Whether there is an active ballot in the QVF system for that voter. So when you do that, lots of time you will see a ballot has been already sent to that voter. But when they come to you, they said, I never requested a ballot. I never received any ballot. I never requested for a ballot. Can I vote now? I'm here. I want to vote now. I said, of course. I mean, I can spoil the ballot. Then I can issue another ballot, and you can vote. So I have done that many times, but I was instructed to do like that. But per the Michigan officials manual, you are required to get a affidavit from that person, stating that I couldn't find my ballot, or I didn't receive the ballot, or whatever. I don't know, but an affidavit need to be submitted. But we were just asking them to fill a form. That's what we were doing. But they didn't have to bring that ballot back to you. The first ballot that was already mailed to them, they didn't have to bring it back. I remember during that 1 month period, maybe I got some of them voluntarily bring. I got maybe around 5 or 10 of them total. That's all. But you are not required to bring it back. Just fill out a form, then you will get another ballot. You complete the ballot in person, and you're done. Then I will receive that ballot into the system.
So now the other people that worked in your center, did they require the original ballot or an affidavit before they issued a new ballot?
No, none of us were trained to do that.
None of them did that?
No.
And that's what the law requires, correct?
Per the Michigan's official manual, yes. If you lost your ballot, or you have a damaged ballot, yeah.
And that's so somebody doesn't vote twice, right?
Yeah, I don't know what happened with the first ballot. I don't know.
Well, that's the whole point, right?
Yes.
And about 32,500 of those ballots, you estimate, were issued without spoiling the original ballot? The period of time you were there.
If you audit the file with the City of Detroit Election Department, from the QVF, you can find out how many ballots were spoiled, how many ballots were rejected, how many ballots were deleted. All those things you can find from the exact number. It's about right. I can speak to my center where I worked, the Common Air Recreation Center location. I would say how many ballots I spoiled. The first 2 weeks there were lots of, third week of October. I would say around 100 ballots maybe I spoiled. I may be wrong, but I don't know exact number. But
you think it's 100?
I can go back to my.
Sorry, Jessie. Do you think it's 100 or 32,000?
For the end, there are 23 satellite sites. Okay, some satellite sites are more people, depending on the area. So, yeah, you can say around 30,000, about 25,000 to 30,000 maybe.
And in any event, those would be.
Please, you're out of order, members. You're out of order. Representative LeGrand, you're out of order. Let them continue. Representatives, you're out of order. Please continue.
And those would be, whatever they are,
Please
those would be
continue.
totally illegal ballots, correct?
I don't know what happened to the first ballot that was mailed to the citizens. I don't know. That was not returned, but we were issuing a second ballot, and they were voting in person. at these locations. I really don't know what happened. Whether they shredded those ballots or they trashed it, I don't know. But it was not returned to the center or to the satellite sites.
November 4, 2020, which is after the election, you were assigned now to the TCF Center. Is that correct?
Yes, I am.
And you arrived there at 8:30 in the morning.
Yes.
And what were your duties there?
When I got there, at the front door, actually it was on the ground level of Cobo TCF Center. I think that's where the auto show usually takes place, the big one, about 1,000 by 1,000 square feet maybe, big one, yeah. So it was packed. So when I went to the front desk, I talked to the person at the front desk. I showed her my badge. I had a badge from the election department. I talked to her and told her I was asked to come and report here 8:30 by my supervisor. And then she said, okay, wait, let me go and get the supervisor on this floor. And she went and came back with the supervisor. I forgot that supervisor's name. So and he asked me, what were you doing at the election department? Then I said I was a processor. And she said, oh, we need you. Come follow me. Then he took me to the podium, the middle of the Cobo TCF Center podium. And he gave me the laptop. And also, just gave me some. Okay, then I was waiting there. I logged into the laptop, and at that point, I noticed Mr. Chris Thomas, Miss Pierce. Those were from the state of Michigan. They were sitting on the other side of the table, and the one side of the table, all the city election officials sitting. So I was sitting with them on that side. And my supervisor from the city side was Miss Aldridge. I think her first name was Carol, I believe. Carol Aldridge. She was my supervisor. So she said, because she knew me before. She knew me before, and she said, oh, Jessie, I need you. So she brought this.
So did she tell you just about immediately not to invalidate any ballots and not to look for deficiencies?
She gave me a pack of, I would say, about 10 to 15 ballots. Those were all open ballots. All were opened. She brought to me and she said, Jessie, enter date November 2nd and receive this ballot into QBF. This is, and also some of the ballots, the envelope has sticky note, cannot find in the poll book. Cannot find in the poll book. Some of them had it. So I took the first ballot and started, opened up the QBF file, and I noticed that ballot was not received. The processor, whoever issued that ballot in person, or maybe that ballot was mailed, it came in postal mail, or it was picked up from the drop-off box. I don't know. There was no postage stamp or nothing on those envelopes. So I don't know the way, whether it was in person, postal mail, or from the drop-off box, pick up from the drop-off box. So those ballots, some of them didn't have the county board on the address label, no counting board printed. Some of the envelope didn't have ballot number printed on the address label. So, but the thing really concerned me when I saw those ballots. All of them were opened. Some of them were upside down.
What does that mean, that they were all open? What's the significance of that?
You are not supposed to open. You have to receive the ballot into the system first. You cannot open the ballot. It should be.
What do you have to do first before you open the ballot?
So when you receive the ballot, the first thing you should do is, first you have to search the voter. You enter their last name, space first name of the voter at QV scan, and then you will locate that voter. Then you will get the absentee voter details. You will match the signature on the absentee ballot return envelope with the signature in the file, qualified voter file. Once it is verified, then you have to receive it. You have to receive that into the system. Once you receive it, then you have to place your initials, ballot number. Actually, you have to place twice your initials on the ballot return envelope. One for the date you received, one for the ballot number. So that's required. You are required to do that as a processor.
Was that being done?
No.
Was that being done by anyone else that you could see in that entire facility?
No. Actually, I was
Were you
told.
the only one doing it?
No. When I was trying to do that, the required, step-by-step process, I was told by my supervisor, Ms. Aldridge, no, don't look for anything. Do not check anything. Just enter the date, November 2nd, keep going. We have lots of ballots. We have to finish this. I need you to do as fast as you can. Just enter November 2nd, keep going. Then I did one or two of them like that. But this is a really, really, I felt so bad because once you modify the QVF file, you can see the username, who modified that file, the last day that data was modified. So if you click, you will see who modified. So when I clicked that, it was my username and the date. It will show. So basically, even though the received date was ended as November 2nd, when you click the QVF file, you will see username, my username, and the date I entered is November 4th. That's not right.
I'm sorry, Jessie, I didn't quite get that. What did you say?
See, when you okay, I did just like my supervisor told me. This is at the TCF center, at the satellite sites. My supervisor there never instructed me anything like that. We were receiving. The minute I get the ballot, we were receiving the ballot into the system, same date. And everything was doing according to the manual at the satellite center where I was working. I just want to specify this one I was asked to do at the TCF center at the podium where all these ballots were coming from. I didn't even know where all these ballots were coming. It was keep coming. Then when I asked the person who was sitting next to me, she was doing the same thing. And she kind of told me, oh, Jessie, we were doing this since 9 p.m. yesterday. That's November 3rd. We didn't even go home. We really need your help, to complete this, to finish. So basically what they were doing is entering all these ballots into the QVF so they can count those ballots. That's what I thought. But they were not following the procedure. Okay, when you are receiving the ballot, and also backdating, why you are doing that on November 4th? It should have been done. The deadline was November 3rd, 9 p.m. That's the deadline for you to receive the ballot, absentee ballot, into the system. As a matter of fact, on November 3rd, I had to stay till 8:30. Even though the polls were closed at 8 p.m., I had to work till 8:30 to complete receiving all the ballots that received into the satellite sites. So all the processors, they are required to do that. 9 p.m., November 3rd. At 8 p.m. is the poll closing time, and you will get 1 hour grace period. So 9 p.m. it should be completed. For that, we were asked to collect absentee ballots from the drop-off box every hour. Every hour we were doing it. And we were receiving the ballot to the QVF on November 3rd every hour. So
every hour you were doing what?
Receiving the ballot. We will go to the drop-off box. in front of the satellite location, and we will collect the absentee ballots. We'll bring it to the table, and whatever you are doing, you will set aside all the work that you are doing. You will make sure the ballot is, because per the Michigan's election, Michigan official manual, this is written. Immediate recording of the ballot is required into the QEF. Immediate recording. Once you receive the ballot, immediate recording is required. Not after 3 days or after 2 days, no.
Your supervisor, Carol Aldridge.
We were doing that. We were doing that in our satellite sites per the Michigan's, what is written in the manual.
Was anybody else doing what you were doing?
Oh, my center, there was another processor, my supervisor, all three of us, we were doing that.
Your supervisor ordered you, though, not to invalidate any ballots, not to look for deficiencies, not to check signatures. And then when you did it, she got angry at you, didn't she?
That's the one at TCF Center, Miss Aldridge.
Miss Aldridge, yes, Miss Aldridge, I'm talking.
Yes. Oh, she was so angry, and you know what she did? It was around 11 o'clock. She said, Miss Jacob, you can take your lunch break. I said, I just had my snack. It's only 11 o'clock. She said, no, take lunch break. I said, what, 30 minutes? No, you can take 2-hour lunch break. Just take 2-hour lunch break. And then I said, okay, I will leave my bag and my jacket and everything here. She said, no, take everything. And you can go upstairs. And she showed me where is the escalator. Go to upstairs. That's where the lunchroom is. So I had to go. I left my laptop on the table there. I went there upstairs, and there were lots of people. And because of the COVID, I didn't eat anything. I just actually there were free lunch for everybody. So I just ate applesauce. Then I came down. When I came down,
Jessie, before we get there, why don't you tell us what that dispute was about? You put a sticky on the ballot saying that it was an invalid ballot.
Yes.
Because it was issued after the deadline.
Yes.
And she wanted you to backdate it, correct?
Yeah, let me explain. What happened was when I was told to enter November 2nd as the receive date, I noticed one of the ballot, the date was November 3rd, absentee ballot. The deadline for absentee ballot issuance is November 2nd, 4 p.m. So it was issued on November 3rd, election day. It was received everything on November 3rd. Then I checked whether that voter is a new registered, newly registered. No, he was not registered on November 3rd. He was registered in sometime in 2010, 10 years ago. So you are not supposed to issue absentee ballot on election day to already registered voters. So I right away talked to Mr. Daniel Baxter. He was standing next to me. I put a note.
Please tell us who Mr. Baxter. So Mr. Baxter was right nearby?
Yes.
And you gave the ballot to him?
With that sticky note.
And is his name Daniel Baxter?
Yeah, Mr. Daniel.
And
Baxter.
what's his role? What's his title?
I know I don't know whether he is the director. I know he was in charge of the operation on that floor. One of the senior most.
Okay. We'll find out what his role was. And what about, wasn't his boss there too? A gentleman named Chris Thomas?
Yes. So when I give that ballot.
What did they conclude about this invalid ballot?
So with a sticky note, because with all this noise and everything in the TCF center and with the mask, when you talk, they won't be able to hear. So I always used to write down the sticky note so that they know exactly what I am trying to convey to them. So I wrote invalid so-and-so reason. It was issued on November 3rd, absentee ballot after the deadline. So I showed to Mr. Baxter, and he took that to, Mr. Chris Thomas was standing nearby. So he showed that to to Mr. Thomas with a sticky note. And after Mr. Thomas read that note, he said, yeah, she's right, but why should we punish voters for processors' mistake? Okay, that's what he said. Why should we punish voters for processors' mistake?
But was he in charge of the effort for Detroit? Was he the person in charge?
That's what I found out.
Mr. Thomas?
Yeah, that's what I found out later. I knew.
I see.
Yes.
And then, what maybe we can summarize some of the.
Yes. Then after that, after that statement from Mr. Chris Thomas, he gave that ballot back to Mr. Daniel Baxter, and I again told Daniel Baxter, I'm sorry, I cannot receive this ballot. This is invalid. Then it's your call, I told Mr. Daniel Baxter. So he took that ballot from me and dropped that ballot. There was a box next to Mr. Chris Thomas' table, underneath the table. He just dropped that ballot into that box. I don't know what happened after that.
Well, let me see if I can shorten it just a little. After a short time, you were told to go to lunch for 2 hours, right?
Yes.
And you went to lunch for an hour and a half.
Yeah, about 2.
And you
yeah.
came back.
Yes.
And another gentleman named George Azuz gave you some ballots to work on.
Yes.
And Carol Aldridge saw you there.
Yeah.
And she came down from the podium.
Yeah.
And what did she tell you?
So when I came back from lunch, my seat was gone. There was a box on top of the laptop. My laptop was on the table. So basically nobody was even, Miss Aldridge was, she was totally ignoring me. She didn't want me to be there at the podium anymore. So I was on the floor level. I found a table and a chair. I sat there. So when I was sitting there, I saw Mr. George Azuz. I think he is, later I found out he is the director of the elections, the election headquarters. So, but I have seen him when I was working at the election headquarters. So I recognized him. And I said, I didn't know his name at that point, but I said, I'm here, I can help, can I have a laptop and I can start validating these ballots. So right away he went to the podium and brought the laptop to me, and I logged into the laptop, and he also gave me like a bunch of about 10-15 ballots, same thing that I was doing in the morning. But he didn't know what happened, what was going on in the morning. He didn't know. So he basically was giving an assignment. He was telling me to do it. So when I started doing it, again, same thing, and November 2nd, end of November 2nd. So Miss Aldridge saw that from the podium that I'm at the floor level, and also she saw I have the ballots. She came down from the podium, and she said, do not, I was checking the signature and, just whatever process you are required to do. She said, do not check the signature, keep going. I told you in the morning, November 2nd, keep going. And she said, do not write anything. Do not write post-it. I do not want you to write anything. At that point, I saw Chris Thomas standing nearby on the floor level. I showed that ballot in the QVF. After I searched the voter, I showed the signature on the QVF file and also the signature on the envelope. Totally different.
The signatures were totally different?
Yes.
Who did you show that to?
To Mr. Chris Thomas. And
what did he say?
He said, oh, that's okay. Let it go. Just let it go. That's fine. Okay, let it go.
He was the boss, right?
Yes. So, but at that point, I couldn't do anything that, because when I am entering the ballot, when they are telling me to enter November 2nd, on the date to be received November 2nd or November 4th, which date I will initial on the ballot? November 4th or November 2nd? I couldn't do it.
So how would you describe how they treated you and how you reacted to it?
It is, they treated me like a criminal, humiliated me, harassed me, so intimidating. I mean, I couldn't, it was so bad. I really want to serve the city of Detroit, very truthfully and sincerely. That's what I was doing all these 34 years I've been working with the city. My whole family, we are proud that we are working, me and my husband both are working for the city of Detroit. I never expected this kind of treatment. It was really, really bad. So then at that moment, then George Azus told me, come up here, take all your stuff from there, come up here to the podium. And then I went back to the podium. Then he told me, he gave me another chair to sit there. Then I saw the state representative, Miss Pierce, Carol Pierce. She was sitting there, and I went to her and I asked her for more ballots to validate. And she was also very rude. She said, I don't need you here. I don't need any of your help. Get out of here. And then I asked her, may I know your name? You know what she did? She took her badge and threw at me. She threw the badge at me.
Were you, your whole experience there, were you shocked at the level of crookedness that was going on and dishonesty?
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
Did it happen every day?
Then November 4th at TCF Center, around 5:30, I decided to stay. They didn't give me any work. I even asked Daniel Baxter, can I do something else? I can help with the counting board table, anything you want me to do. I came here to work till 5:30, and nobody was giving me anything. I just sat there, and around 5:30, Mr. George Azus came to me and said, I'm so sorry, Jessie, you didn't do anything wrong. I apologize, I'm so sorry. That's what he told me. And he asked me for my business card. I had my business card with me. I gave him my business card, and I decided to go home around 5:30. But he was nice to me, George Azus. But I can never forget what I went through. And also I was really concerned if these ballots were problematic, why they were bringing that to the podium. It should have been kept at the counting board table, and it should have been resolved. Whatever the issue with those ballots, it should have been resolved at the respective counting boards. It should not have been even brought to the podium in the first place. So I don't know. I really don't know. And also after they fixed that ballot, who was taking ballot to where? I didn't know. So everything what was going on at the podium was not right.
Jessie?
Yes.
The podium is where they bring the ballots that have big problems, right? Special problems.
Yeah, some of them didn't have the counting board, so they could not locate that ballot. That ballot belonged to which counting board. Some of the ballot didn't have the ballot number.
So these were ballots with extra special problems. And you were there a day and a half. And how many ballots were examined while you were there? And there was no inspection by a Republican inspector. Can you estimate that for me? I think in the past you told me 25,000. But
Actually, I worked at the Cowboy TCF Center on November 4th from 8:30 to 5:30.
correct.
And then when I asked George Azus, I told George Azus, actually I was told to continue to work for the election department till November 20th. So I asked George Azus, where do you want me to come tomorrow? And he said, oh, we are all done here. You can go back to the election headquarters. So I went back to election headquarters on November 5th. So basically, they allow me to be there only on one day, not even one day, maybe for 2 hours, but I was there till 5:30. But I had to go through this so inhumane. I mean,
Is there anything else you'd like to say, Jessie, about your experience?
I just want to be so thankful. I've been in this country for 35 years. I'm so thankful for this country, for all the opportunities. And I am who I am because of this nation. And also, I'm a devoted Catholic, and I was able to go to church and pray and rosary and everything. I really love this country, and I really want to do. I hope this will help this nation. That's the only reason I'm here. And also my 3 children. Thank you, Jesus, for all the blessings and graces that you are showering upon us and on all this nation. I have nothing else to say. Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jessie. Would you say, Jessie, that was an experience that you never expected to have, that much crookedness and dishonesty at the Detroit Center for Counting Votes? Were you shocked at the level of dishonesty and crookedness there?
Yes, I mean, the whole center was so kind of noisy.
That's my city, okay? And
Representative,
I know that's not true.
Representative,
I'm not, I love my city, Detroit.
Ma'am.
I've been with the city for 34 years. I've been serving the citizens of Detroit, so I'm so happy. They are all nice people. I'm not saying, they don't deserve this. They are nice people. My supervisor at the engineering department, I've been with the city for 34 years, from 2007 through 2010. I was the city engineer appointed by Comey Kilpatrick. And now I am the head engineer. I'm working with my supervisor and my director. They are all very nice people. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm talking about this, my experience when I worked at the elections, first time in my life, for 2 months, about 2 months, what I experienced. But as an employee of the city of Detroit, I am so grateful to them and so thankful to each and every of my coworkers. They are all very nice. So please don't misunderstand me, Miss.
ma'am, please direct your question to the chair.
Miss Johnson, please don't take it.
Yeah, so I'll, if it's all right, we'll start here now. And Mr. Mayor, I do want to remind you, I mean, we're not going to go till 1 or 2 a.m. So I understand that, this is somebody, I mean, obviously you're very brave to come forward with your story. I can tell you care a lot about your job, your work. And I appreciate you sharing it here today, because I know it's been difficult for you.
Yes, it is.
With that, I'm going to open it up to questions. We'll do 1 question per member who wants it. Then when you're done, we'll move on. And Mr. Mayor, with the next witnesses, we're going to have to move along faster,
Sure,
sir.
we will.
All right. With that, I'll move on to Representative Lefebvre.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for coming and testifying today, and I'm very glad that you decided to be a part of our country. Welcome.
Thank you.
I have 1 question, as per the rule, and it might sound like a series. If anything that I say is wrong, please correct me, okay?
Sure.
You were told to enter the ballots at the TCF hall as received on 11/2,
Yes,
and that was not the date. You also were told by Mr. Chris Thomas, why should we punish voters for processors' mistakes? And Chris Thomas identified a ballot that you showed him within a signature that did not match the qualified voter file,
yes,
and directed, Chris Thomas said, let it go, that's fine.
that's right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you. Representative LeGrand.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and ma'am, thank you for being here today. I'm going to refer back to my notes here, and this is about, I don't know, maybe around 6:30 we got to this. You said that about, and I'm reading from my notes here, so if I get this wrong, again, feel free to correct me. But if I understand your testimony, you're saying that about 14 days before the election, your supervisor, Carla, told you that people could vote without ID. And you said that for your peace of mind, you insisted that people provide ID. Are you aware that people in Michigan can vote without identification? In fact, I've always voted that way.
Oh,
You're not aware of that,
Sir,
ma'am?
Members of the audience, please, let's be respectful. Thank you.
Ma'am, are you aware of that, ma'am?
Are you? No.
see, 0 to 14 days, 0 to 14 days, that is the restricted registration time. You have to have the ID and also the proof of residency. And if you don't have the driver's license, you have to submit an affidavit, and also you have to have a passport or something, photo ID. That's my understanding.
Okay, you're confused. Thank you.
Representative Steve Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. When you were processing these ballots, at any point in time, were there ever any poll watchers, poll challengers, and if so, were they from both parties or just one party?
Just from Democratic Party. Actually, one day I happened to talk to one of the persons. She came from DC Democratic Party. I don't remember seeing anybody from the other party.
Representative C.A. Johnson. Representative C.A. Johnson, why don't you go ahead?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay. Good evening.
Good evening, Ms. Johnson.
Your name is Jessie
Jacob.
Jessie Jacobs. Is that your birth name?
Okay. My first name is Jessie. When I was married, my husband's last name is Jacob. When I got married in 1983, 37 years ago, I had my maiden name. That's my dad's house name. It's a long name.
Can you spell it, please?
K like kite, IZHAKEKARA.
Representative, what is your question, please?
I'm asking the question.
Well, please ask.
She
it.
gave a lot of information. I just want to
understand.
know who
And,
she
Ma'am,
is.
Representative, please, it's reasonable to ask the name of the person.
Yes.
I'm with you there. But now that you know it,
What's your
please-
what was your first name? What
Jessie.
Jessie. Thank you.
Jessy, not E.
Jessy.
Y.
Thank you very much.
okay, now please move on to your question,
That's
Representative.
it. You asked
Okay.
that one.
Thank you. Representative,
And my middle name is Sunny. My middle name is Sunny. Sunny.
and I think it's important, Representative C.A. Johnson. I mean, if that was, I mean, we're not here to intimidate people. I mean,
That's
these
that's
are,
okay. That's okay.
okay. I mean, we want to hear what happened. So Representative Camilleri, please proceed with your question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Giuliani, before you
I'm going to
began,
gavel this. The question is for the witness. As I told you at the end, you're able to ask a question to Mr. Giuliani.
we have three people actually before our panel today. And each of them is
Representative,
before our panel. And
I'm
I
at-
know that you gave your power away to Mr. Giuliani to ask questions during this part of the testimony. That's fine. But it is now my right as a representative to ask a question of the people before our committee. This is not for
Representative,
this is
you're
not
out of order.
This is
If
not
you
Four
do not
Seasons
have a
Landscaping.
question,
This is a committee
Representative-
of the state legislature. I should have a right to ask a question of who is before us.
I will allow you to ask a question at the end of Mr. Giuliani, as I stated at the beginning. If you have a question for the witness, Ms. Jacob, please ask it. If you don't, then I'm going to move on.
Ms. Jacobs, I know that you've given testimony previously. We've heard your story in the media. I know that you gave testimony yesterday as well. Judge Kenny in Wayne County Circuit Court.
May I ask?
Did
He
not
has-
give testimony yesterday.
I apologize.
Okay,
I apologize.
yeah, Representative,
I
please
apologize.
tell us your
That's
question.
very misleading.
You've asked a lot of misleading questions yourself, Mr. Giuliani. I
Representative
appreciate that.
Camilleri, please, what is your question?
My question, Ms. Jacobs, is Judge Kenny has ruled that your testimony in court is incorrect and not credible. So why should we believe anything that you said here today?
I'm not aware of any such ruling. She's never been a witness in court. It would have been impossible for a judge to
Your
rule.
affidavit was ruled
May I please finish?
incorrect and not
May
credible.
I have the courtesy of finishing?
What,
She has never been a witness in court, so no judge could ever have assessed her credibility.
what is your question, Mr. Camilleri?
Why are we listening to your story here today if it has already been ruled incorrect and not credible by a judge in court?
It has not been ruled.
It has. Well, this is
Okay,
not a courtroom, Mr.
Representative,
Giuliani. This is a committee. Why do you keep objecting to what I'm saying here?
Representative, is there an answer to that?
Okay, you can go and ask the judge who denied that, okay? I don't know anything about it.
Okay, thank you. We're going to move on. Vice Chair Riley with a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, my question, I noticed you said you looked at some of the signatures. Well, like what percentage of the signatures would you say did not match or did not look right?
No, when I was at the satellite sites working as a processor, I always made sure the signatures matched. This was at TCF Center on November 4th.
And yeah, and at that point, did you look at any of the signatures?
Yes.
And
And I showed that to Mr. Chris Thomas, and he said, let it go. It was totally different. Let it go. And after that, I was kicked out.
Oh, okay.
I was told not to validate any more ballots
so just one chance. Okay, very good.
for that day. Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. With that, there are no more questions for you, Ms. Jacob. Thank you for your testimony today. You're very brave coming here, and thank you.
Thank you so much. I am so thankful to this honorable body for having me and for listening to me. Thank you so much.
I understand we have next, is it Melissa Carbone? Carone? All right, please come up when you're ready, and if possible, if we can limit this to 10 minutes, I'd appreciate that. Mr. Giuliani, you indicated that the first person was somebody who hadn't testified before, didn't testify yesterday.
Longer than I expected. But
Sure, and so we
I
gave
felt
her
uncomfortable interrupting her.
No, I understand, and I think she had a very valuable story to tell, and she was very brave coming here, obviously at great risk, and, we understand that. But from here on, if we can condense these testimonies, if we can allow
Can you do it in
more
10 minutes?
questions to come from the members, we'd appreciate that, sir. So with that,